am I analysing This Is America by Childish Gambino? Because millions upon millions of people have blithely swallowed the social justice narrative that it promotes. They're calling it
an overnight cultural phenomenon.
This video is basically the antidote to everything Kanye has been saying for the past few weeks. Now, first off, I'm not questioning the talents of either Donald Glover or the choreography for this video, which are both obviously substantial. I am questioning the phony, race-baiting, divisive narrative that the video seeks to elevate. So Donald Glover, Childish Gambino, is essentially playing the role of America. White America, to be more precise. Glover massacring the gospel singers is a reference to the racist murder of black churchgoers in Charleston. The guy shot at the beginning of the video also looks like Trayvon Martin's dad, cementing the Black Lives Matter theme that racist white America is hunting down African Americans. Strangely absent from the 4-minute video is any reference whatsoever to the #1 killer of black people in America, which is other black people. A fact you'd think would be part of the conversation if Glover really cared about black lives. Also absent is the fact that black people kill more white people than vice versa, despite the fact that white people make up a far larger percentage of the population.
According to the National Crime Victimization Survey, in 2010, 62,593 blacks were the victims of white violence. During that same year, 320,082 whites were the victims of black violence. That's 5 times as many violent attacks, but that number is misleading, since the black and white populations are not the same size. When 38 million black Americans commit 5 times as many violent crimes on 197 million whites as they receive, what you discover is that black perpetrators violently assault white victims 25 times more frequently. And when it comes to a specific kind of violent crime, aggravated assault, the number of black on white crimes is 200 times higher than white on black crimes.
Running through the lyrics and the entire video is the theme of Glover and the dancers serving as a distraction from the chaos going on behind them, which is supposed to be an allegory of how entertainment distracts from social justice, racism, and identity politics.
The song's first bridge talks about how entertainment media is serving as a distraction from bigger issues at hand.
What are you talking about? The entertainment industry is now wall-to-wall social justice, racism, and identity politics. You can't get through a late-night comedy monologue, an NFL national anthem, or an awards show speech without being bombarded with social justice, racism, and identity politics. This very video has handed the entertainment industry and the media yet another opportunity to endlessly talk about social justice, racism, and identity politics. Mainstream America doesn't distract from discussions about racism and social justice. It amplifies them at every available opportunity. One of the dance moves Glover performs is the South African Gwara Gwara, to draw a parallel between the racist oppression of black people in South Africa and racism in America, which is pretty ironic given that racist oppression currently taking place in South Africa is overwhelmingly directed towards white people.
The South African Parliament has voted in favour of new legislation that could see land from white farmers seized.
He has said that he's not calling for the slaughter of white people, at least not yet. In recent years, there has been a spike in the killing of farmers in South Africa.
The guns being attentively taken care of with a red cloth represents how Republicans care more about guns than lives. Another irony, given that defensive gun uses by victims are more common than gun uses by violent criminals, according to the CDC's own figures. Firearms violence has also been plummeting for the last 20 years, even as gun ownership soared.
Gambino says,
This is Selly. That's a tool.
Yeah.
Selly could mean cell block, a commonly used tool to unjustly keep blacks in a cycle of incarceration.
Yeah. 50% homicide rate, 13% population rate. Glover also poses and pulls facial expressions like a caricature of Jim Crow. Jim Crow laws were racial segregation laws enacted by Democrats. But as Candace Owens points out, virtually no one complaining about Jim Crow laws today even lived through the Jim Crow era.
Victim mentality is not cool. I don't know why people like being oppressed. It's the weirdest thing I've ever heard. I love oppression. We're oppressed. 400 years of slavery, Jim Crow, which, by the way, none of you guys lived through. Your grandparents did, and it's embarrassing that you utilize their history. You're not living through anything right now. You're overly privileged Americans.
Racism and slavery was a horrific chapter of American history, just as it was in every other part of the world where slavery was inflicted on virtually every race on the planet. Why are we still obsessively talking about this hundreds of years later? Could it be because Democrats don't actually care about black lives?
It has been a record year in the city of Chicago, and for all the wrong reasons. The murder rate has never been higher.
And the only thing they actually care about is keeping black people locked in a permanent state of mental victimhood so they can get black votes. Glover trying to escape and run from America, which is represented at the end of the video, encapsulates the overarching nihilistic message that America is corrupt, evil, and racist. So corrupt, evil, and racist that it allows Glover, a black man, to reach the top of his game in both acting and the music industry, while having one of the most celebrated and talked about songs of the year, while appearing on every mainstream talk show on TV, while making tens of millions of dollars in the process. So racist. America is so corrupt and evil. It defeated the twin terrors of fascism and communism, became the biggest economic powerhouse on the planet, created a strong aspirational middle class, including a generation of upwardly mobile black families, improving the lives of hundreds of millions of Americans of all colours, and providing endless opportunities for tens of millions of immigrants thereafter. So racist! But none of that really matters. This music video has had over 120 million views in 10 days. Videos that emphasize its social justice narrative have tens of millions more views. This is a potent piece of cultural and political propaganda delivered via the medium of pop culture, and me sitting here debunking its delusory sophistic themes isn't going to reach 120 million people. We need to create our own art. We need to create our own music. We need to create our own cultural narrative. Young people don't identify with social justice narratives because of their objective truth. They didn't reason themselves into believing Black Lives Matter rhetoric. They believe it because it's socially acceptable and it inflates their inherent narcissism. They identify with it because it's cool to do so. Videos like this make it cool to do so. We need to make this uncool. We need to make social justice the most embarrassing thing in the world. We need to create an environment where artists can express true diversity of opinion without committing career suicide. We need to incentivize a return to beauty, a return to authenticity, a reassertion of confidence in Western civilization. This isn't America. Spike Lee's new America-bashing movie isn't America. This kind of thing exists to tear down and denigrate the very idea of America. We shouldn't allow this to define what America stands for. We need to define what America stands for. We need to make America cool again.